Alright, welcome to this section, and what we'll be doing is looking at creating a library of different parts that you'll use to kind of embellish your final piece. And this is a good, I think, thing to do it kind of like midway through your process, because if you've already started to do things like create little rust spots, maybe a little smokestacks, some of these kind of stippling scratches, whatever they are, holes. You've already kind of got your library built up halfway, so you might as well just collect them all into one file, and then you can begin building off of this. And we could even take in some of our shapes that we created in the very first videos and incorporate those as well. In this video, though, I'm going to specifically be looking at just creating different cords and things like that, wires and stuff like that, and we'll add these to our library. And when this entire project is done, hopefully what we've done is we've kind of built up this amazing, collection of parts that we can just use to kind of quickly pull from and apply to, your basic rendering of the robot. So anyway, just keep in mind that we now have this file to paste stuff into, and I'll go and create another document to work in for the chords specifically. Alright, so at our kind of very simplest level, what we can do is just basically grab the pen tool and take a dark color like black. Let's set this up to just something like 2, and just start drawing out things like this. Oops. Well, that's a fine one, but I was going to end it right there. Although looking at this, let's make the line about 3. I think that's probably an okay thickness. Ultimately, what we'll do is do lines to fills on every one of these. And this could be one that's, I don't know, for some strange reason, starting to buckle up over there. And obviously these are all things that you could make it on the fly, just as you're finding places to put chords. But like I said, we're going to start building up a library, so why not make a few easy ones in the beginning. Do something like this. This might be one that's just kind of draped across, connecting two regions. So this would be more like something that we kind of already sketched up, kind of an underarm chord. And that one just feels to me like it should be a little thicker. So anyway, that's again the easiest approach. Just grab the pen tool like that, and now let's do kind of a telephone, a cord wire, one that is kind of constantly bending. And this isn't too tough. What you can do is just grab a circle like so, and let me just make this pure black. And I'm just going to take out the middle part of it. So I'm going to do a scale. Numeric scale here. I'll just go down to 80%, maybe another 80%, and kind of move it up a little bit so it's there we go. So it's a little thicker in the front, and just make that any other color. Delete out that shape, and then this will be kind of our base ring, which we'll just copy from. So we go and just using the high keys for paste in place. Just keep copying and doing something like this. And of course, after a while, what you could do is just grab a whole ton of them at once and paste upwards like that. And from this point, you could do a lot of different things. I mean, we could use this kind of base shape to distort it, like so. So you get something like that. Straight up and down, I mean, this is a little too straight, obviously. Even if we curved it like so, it's kind of hard to imagine where that would come in. But let's just keep a copy of it right now so we could paste from it and make some changes. So another thing you could do is hit the envelop tool or subtool and just pull these out. So you get something like that. It's this is not the best version of what we could do using that that same initial shape that I had, and it looks like I might even have to create that again because I don't have a copy of it anymore. What do we do? 60% or so. If we were going to do it curving like that, I think what we need to do is just really go the distance and start taking every copy that we make and tilting it. Move it over a little bit too, that would help. So you get something like that happening. And let's see, can we get away with copying this? Well, you know what we should do? Let's make it into a symbol. Chord bending, how about that? Then you can do lots of different things. You could flip it upside down, so we could kind of pull it back over here. You know what? It's funny, I actually just noticing this now. This color has a little bit of an alpha on it, doesn't it? There we go. I suppose they all do. Oh, there we go. That's okay. I think I'm not sure if somebody would kind of notice that they almost changed direction there, but so you could do something like that. Probably I should have. I didn't curve the first, or I didn't start moving over the first few of them that I did in there, and that might have been a mistake. Might be able to fix it like that, though. Okay, it looks a little bit better. And of course, a lot of these chords, I mean, yeah, any one of these you'd probably be seeing at a very small level like that. So if there's some sort of strange, I don't know, rotation that doesn't make sense when you're looking at it this big, you can be forgiven when you see it that small. So anyway, that's how I'd go about doing the old telephone wire chords. And what other chords are there really? I mean, I suppose what you could do is grab the pen tool and kind of do the same thing yourself. Might not look as kind of tight of a wire. But again, at a far off distance, something like this might look okay. Something like that. Huh. Got a strange thing happening when I start to scale that down. Might want to just go over here and hit convert lines to fills. So I keyed it, but there it is, convert lines to fills. And then this is probably a shape that we could repeat a few times and someone wouldn't necessarily notice. Well, especially if we skewed it a little bit. All I'll do is just chop off that top part, so looks like that would meet over there okay. And I think kind of the end game here is that someone goes, wow, that illustration you did was so detailed. How did you do that? And you know, the whole kind of magician's trick here is that, I mean, you're maybe a little sloppier than people give you credit for, because you know that this looks like almost something out of a Charlie Brown drawing, but you know, once it's small enough, you go, oh, look at that, you must have used the tiniest brushes ever. Another thing, or something you can do with any one of these, and just to make it easy on myself, let me just go ahead and hit F8 on all of them, or at least those ones that aren't symbols yet, is apply some filtering to them. So I'm just going to select everybody, and you can either, you can go with the drop shadow. I guess that's probably the best one. Inner shadow it, hit the color to something like white, and then you probably want to take down the blurring and the distance quite a bit. And then, of course, it looks a little silly if it's that bright, but if you took down the strength to maybe 30% or so, and let's see what this looks like on a dark background. You get some nice things like this happening, obviously, because these aren't one symbol. That you're getting that weird line in there. But let's start to try to take the strength up just a little bit as we go through here. And yeah, you obviously get the impression that it's a spiraling chord, or kind of a, you know, loosely spiraled chord over here, even though it's a black symbol on top of a black background. So that that drop shadowing leaves a nice little impression in there, especially in this one. So for example, let's say what I'll do is I'll just kind of want to stop seeing that line in there. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks good right there. Let's play with the distance just a little bit. Still looks okay. Starts falling apart at about there. That almost looks, that's a little too blurry. Just keep in mind too, when you start scaling things up and down, so for example, that same shape scaled down to this is now using those same blurring settings that you had before, but of course it's all relative. So now 2 pixels of blurring is applied over a greater distance within the image. So then you probably want to take it back down again. So there you go. I think the best thing you can do is do a lot of these little spirally guys, and kind of think about specific places where they might go. So for example, if you had, let me just grab our kind of standard blue polygon box, set that to hairline. So if we had something like two boxes, snap together that line, so you just get the impression of a little dimension there. So if you had 2 boxes like this, and you wanted to do a chord between them, you might start there and go to here, right? Alright, so use a line like that as your reference for then doing the tight spiraling circles that I keep forgetting to make a symbol. Oh, you could try this too. Let's say you just go a layer above everything so it doesn't conflict with anybody else. Let's set the line width up to about 2. And then just start, you know, coming along here. Start rotating it as you need. Flash doesn't have a great way of doing this, but I think Adobe Illustrator does have some pretty high-tech tools for repeating shapes along a path. So you get that happening. I would you might want to consider making this a fill shape before you do something like that, because let's just see what happens if we go use lines to fills. It looked like it succeeded, no problems there, but I think you'd eventually run into some little conflict where, you know, one part would disappear or something like that, as you just got too many points intersecting. But finally, there's one other thing you can do, and again, let's use another line as a reference. So I'll just draw that in. Make this a little bit smaller than that. Okay, I'm going to grab a circle, just put it up on a layer above there. This time what I'll do is I'll kind of just give it this funny little bend. Like so. Hit F8, let's call this chord base part, why not? Alright, now zoom in some more. I'm going to go and take the pivot point, move it off to where I'm going to be rotating this around. And let's start it like that. And just copy, paste. You get the idea by now, but I'll have to just do it for a bit longer. Suppose I could probably copy a chunk of these. Except for when we get here, this is where we would want to start bending them in like this. And this is a fun one because it kind of looks like the spine of something or other. And once you start getting making the curve around there, you'd probably want to just reverse where that pivot point is at. So now when you copy up, you just give it a little tilt in that direction. And here we can really make use of the library, or our symbols just in general, because if we make a little change to one of these, it's going to make that change to all of them. So for example, if I kind of fatten this whole thing out, definitely gives you a much different appearance. Kind of looks, that looked again sort of more like telephone wire, whereas this is giving us that spinal look. Let me lock all these. I'm going to bend this line just a little bit like that, and then I'll show you guys you can also thicken this back up. And then that too is kind of fun to play with, because we could make this into a symbol and put like a bevel effect on that. Let's take it down a little bit. Adjust the distance some, the angle, and then it gives this weird sort of like, almost like the black part is, I don't know, maybe some sort of protective metal around the actual chord. And this could look a little bit better probably if I thicken up the this part some. So it's like the whatever wire that is underneath there just occasionally shows through the it's protective coating, I guess. Or you can just take that out entirely and just keep treating this like it's some sort of spiraling cord through there. But yeah, alright, so let's go and take these into our library of fun parts, and we'll come back and make something new.